Welcome back to the next instalment of Know Your Enemy, a rapid fire series where we break down each new detachment so you know what to expect when your opponent brings it to the table, or if you are the one wanting to do the bringing. Our global narrative campaign continues, anyone can get involved and influence the outcome, and it is free to do so. Patreons of our middle tier and above gain extra campaign missions and content, and our Patreon giveaway also continues with another free combat patrols or equivalent being given away this month. You can join for as little as £3. As an inspiring member of the Death Watch, or perhaps an overgrown cockroach general, the following are the Tyranid army rules. Synapse creatures allow units within range to test on 3d6 for battle shock, making passing those tests at key moments extremely reliable, whilst also being able to swing the game massively by forcing your opponent to pass a once per game army-wide battle shock test. Bring Dark Angels, laugh in their buggy faces. The core rules for this new Endless Swarm detachment is insurmountable odds. Every time an Endless Multitudes unit gets shot, they get to surge d6 towards the closest enemy unit. This can also be used to get into combat and has no limit on the number of times it can be used per turn. Straight away, this causes tough choices for your opponent, who will have to prioritise where they are choosing to go all in. Failing to finish off a unit means all you have done is granted them a ton of free movement. Immediately, my question is, does Overwatch also let the EM unit move closer, as it does count as a shooting attack in the shooting phase? Thoughts? Let me know below. A final thought is a clever move would be to make use of strategic reserves and deep strike, so you can drop a unit close to the EM unit and then use your other units to shoot it, in order to drag that unit back to the Tyranid deployment zone where it belongs. All of the enhancements here are nicely useful, but to be honest, the army rule is all you're going to really need. But anyway, naturalised camouflage lets you grant 3 units cover for turn 1. It's super useful as large units of infantry are going to struggle to hide. Relentless hunger increases your movement. It's okay, but not really needed, could be situational. Piercing talons can be powerful if it's on the correct leader, as this will allow the unit to get many combat buffs, meaning they eat what they take from the Imperial buffet. And finally, Adrenalized Onslaught. In my view, this is the strongest enhancement here. I'll explain this in a moment. If you disagree, I would love to hear why below. Now for the stratagems. Bounding Advance automatically provides a 6-inch advance. It's strong, as you can advance into the opponent's face and sit there and wait to be shot in their turn to bring you into combat. Unending Waves is giving the Guard a run for their money. It's well worth the 2 CP, especially on a massive block of Endless Multitudes. The Preservation Imperative is a nightmare. Guard armies will now struggle to dent the swarms, and even some lists like the Eldar Night Spinner spam will become laughable. Amazing for 1 CP, make sure to watch out for this or leave your blast units at home. Teaming Masses is situational and helps keep the swarms alive, whereas Swarming Masses is strong in combination with certain leaders and enhancements. Personally, I would look to save CP here as a Tyranid player and focus on keeping your units alive and leaving smashing to the bigger bugs. Synaptic Goading is one of the best strats here, as it provides the potential to win the game via movement. You won't use it often, but when you do need it, it will be the difference of getting onto a point or not. If you comb the Tyranid Index, you will find some brutal combos you can do, so always ask your opponent what buffs the leaders provide if you see one in amongst a horde. Naturalised Camo is up first. I would expect to see this cover giving bonus in every game you play against the Endless Swarm. To me, it's a no-brainer. Goading plus Onslaught will provide stupid amounts of movement and allow you to get tons of models onto an objective and make use of your objective control values. If your opponent is not scoring primary, you will win the game. Piercing Talon plus Masses will give you critical wounds and sustained hits, and that's not to be laughed at. You will be seeing this getting used a lot, however I personally think it's not the one you should worry about, as the threat from these swarms is not their damage output, but their ability to put 20 bodies on an objective and stop you getting anywhere near it and completely screwing with your scoring. My final thoughts to finish up is I would say at first glance that the Endless Swarm is all about victory through numbers and winning in the movement phase. The more models you keep safe with strats and pile onto objective areas, the better it is for you, as you can keep your opponent from scoring reliably from turn 2 onwards. I'd personally focus less on buffing swarm units unless it's defensive, and use the points to get your biggest bugs to do the bullying. You will have to watch out for some Tyranid leaders, as they will make these swarms mental at combat, so always be ready to adapt your strategy. The downside of these armies is that they contain a ton of models, which will lead to slower games and a much higher cost of entry should you want to pick it up. It is the perfect detachment for someone either wanting to roleplay as the Starship Troopers or the Brainbug, the true hero of 40k. Thank you for watching all, and don't forget to check our campaign pack out if you want to get you and your friends involved in some global narrative campaigns, which these are of course on Patreon, and Patreon is where we reward any level of support with excellent odds of winning some great prizes. Don't forget to engage with our videos through likes and comments. We will love you a long time. Thank you very much.